Warning. The following communications are not authorized. Please disable your signals and report to your local re-education center immediately. Failure to comply will result in immediate reprimand and capital punishment.
I don't know how much longer we need that YouTube warning, because I think they just decide on their own. My name is Andrew. I'd like to acknowledge this land as being formerly somebody else's house. Who's got all this static? That's you, Eric.
I can't win today. I don't know why I can't.
Samaire Armstrong, welcome to our lives. Thanks for joining us. How are you doing? Did you see that weird Microsoft thing where they said their name, their gender, their race?
Yes, I thought that was a spoof. Was that real?
No, that was real from some sort of Microsoft. I'll play it for us in a second, but some sort of Microsoft. I don't know if it was internal video or whatnot. Let's just go ahead and play it, and then we'll react to it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Natalie Gadilla. I'm a Caucasian woman with long blonde hair, and I go by she, her. I'm a product marketing lead here at Microsoft and co-host of the podcast Security Unlocked with this guy.
Yes, that would be me. Hello, everyone. I'm Nick Fillingham. I'm a Caucasian man with glasses and a beard. I go by he, him, and I'm a security evangelist here at Microsoft.
Oh, Will Witt's in this.
Hello, everyone. My name is Will Witt. I'm 6'4". I'm a white, Caucasian, American male, and my pronouns are he, they. I'm really happy to be here on the Microsoft Live podcast.
Hi.
Micro and Soft Live.
Excuse me. You just interrupted a woman. Hi, I'm Amala. I'm 5'7". I have brown braids, and I work as a senior engineer here at Microsoft. I go by she, her. It's great to be here.
So obviously Samaire and no, that's you. What's her name?
Amala.
Eric, do we remember? Amala, yeah.
Amala, yeah.
Amala and Will. Will is not 6'4". I think he's like 5'6", actually,
I'm
guys.
6'4".
Exactly. So the Microsoft part was real, though. There's also a fully lengthy land acknowledgement, which Eric sent me. That's like 20. She names like 20 tribes. So I was very confused.
Yeah,
you look like you don't believe that it's real.
I don't. You know your friend Ben that you introduced me to?
Ben Bankus?
Yes. I honestly thought it was one of his spoofs that I just saw on his Instagram.
Whenever I see Theresa Tam, the head chief medical officer of Canada, I just hear his voice doing the voiceover for that pretty much.
Absolutely.
Eric, you look
racist.
depressed.
Okay. Well, because I just want to make sure, is my sound okay? Is there static? I was struggling to get in here, so I just want to make sure everything's okay, and then I want to talk about that Microsoft thing.
Everything's
There's
okay.
actually I see such a delay. Am I okay?
Yes.
You're fine on my end.
Everything's okay. Okay, you guys are.
I'm
both
looking at the
static.
live feed, and everything looks fine.
Okay, we'll just live in the imaginary world that the rest of society is living in. We just pretend everything's okay.
That's true.
Or
yeah.
that it's not.
Okay, so you showed that clip of Microsoft, but you played the parody version of it. So that's why I think she thinks, because Will took the clip and turned it into a parody, but the clip is real.
No. Yeah, I've seen the clip. I've even seen the clip where she's talking about where the land is originally from. It's just so, like, those are the things that are going to quantify you as a human being, the color of your hair and your gender as your description. Like, I'd be like, hi, I'm Samaire Armstrong. I'm a badass. I, escaped. I was just made so much more out of my existence than what I was arbitrarily born into, the color of my skin and my hair, which also changes. So it's just bizarre. And does anyone else in Microsoft look at each other and give each other side eye when they watch this? Or are they just yeah, okay, cool. This is it now.
This is how it is, I think. I think this is the thing to do. If you're immersed in that, they wouldn't even allow the guy, James Damore, the whistleblower from Google, to say that there are differences between men and women inherently. They wouldn't even allow that. So I doubt that, it is really weird that they mentioned, their hair. Maybe that was their way to, poke fun at it. But
the guy had a mohawk, and he didn't mention that.
he said beard.
Are they talking? Are they talking on behalf of people who can actually see to sort of establish a visual?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe
Which
that's the
still
attempt
means he
there.
should have mentioned the mohawk that he's wearing. That was, I think, the defining quality
True.
of that weirdo, and he didn't mention the mohawk. So
I think I found the other part. I think
Nor
I found
did
the
he
other
mention
part and
that
I'll
he was a
download it.
weirdo, which is really shallow of himself.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I feel like maybe we should be doing this every time. A land like the thing about the land acknowledgement is, where do you cut that off? Otherwise, you should be mentioning things for what however many thousands of years the current place that you live has been claimed by people. That's a really
Right.
long list. Like, I'm going to go with, like, do you go by the governments that owned it? Do you go by the country name? Like, how do you determine it? Because it never is never been that simple. And I feel like depending on your country, like Australia it would be like 3 things, wouldn't it? I don't know.
And then also, if you think about it, like the land really could have possibly started with the Greys and humans took over. So it could be alien territory for all
I
we
was
know.
gonna ask if that was an alien reference. So I'm very impressed that you're using, the Greys, the tall whites, the Draconans. Eric's more of a lizard people guy, I feel.
Anunnaki type of stuff, the lizard
Okay,
folks.
yes. Ancient astronaut theorists predict that it could have been aliens who interjected and caused the pyramids to be built this way. I watched a video the other day about a guy pontificating how you could build the pyramids, and he had like a little model that he used, and he seemed really thought out. He thought that the ramp system was the best one to use. I don't know about you guys.
I
think
haven't
it's
put
the
enough
beam
thought
me
into
up body
the
system.
pyramid. I don't know. I don't know enough about the pyramids. Aliens or slaves or.
We're all old enough to remember that. What was that thing from Fox News where they opened they would open the pyramid sarcophaguses. They would open whoever's vault it was with Geraldo, and there was nothing in there.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Who was it? Was that Al Capone? Al Capone's vault or something?
Al Capone's vault, yeah. I have the video of the other Microsoft part of that to show you that it's not fake. I believe this is what Eric sent me.
We've got a big day ahead and lots in store for you. First, we want to acknowledge that the land where the Microsoft campus is situated was traditionally occupied by the Sammamish, the Duwamish, the Snoqualmie, the Suquamish, the Muckleshoot, the Snohomish, the Tulalip, and other Coast Salish peoples since time immemorial. A people that are still here, continuing to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. My name is Allison Wines. I'm a senior program manager in our developer tools division. I'm an Asian and white female with dark brown hair wearing a red sleeveless top.
And I'm Seth Juarez, program manager in the AI platform group. I'm a tall Hispanic male wearing a blue shirt, khaki pants. Today we kick off 2 days of learning more about the latest solutions, exploring how these key innovations can empower you to do great things, and connecting with peers from around the world.
I think
And time memoriam.
They're politely establishing the gangs they're associated with. She was clearly a Blood, and he was a Crip, depending on their shirt colors. I don't understand why. Why are they? It has to be for the visually impaired.
Yeah, I think the
But
trait
I guess
and
also
T-shirt
visually
thing.
impaired wouldn't know what red is, would they?
I suppose not. That's a very deep question.
I guess
the deaf
I
can
guess everybody
see,
has
Eric.
access. Yeah, but they can't hear, so I guess
subtitles.
They have closed captioning. Yeah. Look, it's obviously
What are you from
not
1938 or something?
Well, look. It's obviously not a serious thing, right? Like it is. Well,
I think it's trying to be, right?
Well,
I mean,
it is.
we don't take it seriously, but are they sort of trying to establish a new way of greeting people?
I guess you
think
should,
it-
along with
it's
your
just
pronouns,
a
you should say what you're wearing.
Yeah, it's just a continuation of the nonsense we've already seen. So it's not going to stick, right? I mean, I feel like there's a whole bunch of stuff that we've seen that they try to make stick for a little bit and it doesn't. Like, remember there was the Mu variant, the Mu variant, the Lambda variant. They throw things at the wall. Sometimes they stick, sometimes they don't. but it's clearly just a show of more force, right? Like, so just
The Moo variant.
yeah, the MU, like those things happen for like a week. Remember, we were supposed to be wearing goggles for a week or so. Fauci told us to wear goggles. It didn't stick. This is just
I don't
another
know
one of those
about-
things that's like,
I don't know about where you guys are, but my local McDonald's, they have to wear like safety glasses. The drive-through,
staying at
like the
McDonald's,
workers.
first of all.
Going through a drive-through, they're wearing masks and safety goggles at the store. These teenagers
Gloves?
who are not in danger at all. I don't know if that's where you guys are
I
at
think
right
we
now.
should just. I think we should just start carrying around and establishing a new dominant way of existing on our end. So it's like you just openly carry it in all states, and you
Just
like
point
you
a
have,
gun at
like,
everyone.
you have spikes on your leather jacket when you go outside. This is for protection, and just establish a whole
true.
new freaky realm of society. Let's just bring Mad Max in already. It's time.
I'm waiting for
Like
Avi and Minnie
like
to
the California
do that
Love
too.
video. Remember that?
Yes,
Which
I
one?
do. Which
Oh yes, of course, of course.
That's what it
Yes,
reminded
And
me.
then-
exactly that. Yeah.
every movie that starts off in California with the crane shot coming in from the Hollywood sign,
Of
California
broken
Love starts playing.
society. Yeah.
Where were you guys? I saw that you guys were at some sort of thing at the same time together.
Oh, I
Saw each
Yeah.
other.
feel like I sense a little bit of jealousy there. Like
Only because of the freedom.
So where were you guys hanging out?
Where were
without
you
me?
guys? What time was it?
Look, that was a fun day, by the way.
You had fun?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, like I said, I'm still in the Arizona honeymoon phase, And don't get me wrong, South
Right.
Dakota was not bad, but that minus
Mhm.
20 is something crazy that I'm not really willing to deal with on an annual basis. And there was just nothing to do. I mean,
Right.
I literally not saying that this is bad, but like my fun days in South Dakota were like going to the gym. Like that was an event. It was like I'm gonna go play basketball at the gym. Like that was the best thing we had going. Couple gun
Can I
shows.
ask you something non-political and a little bit personal?
Absolutely.
Okay, did you move to South Dakota for a significant other?
No, I just ran away from Andrew Cuomo.
I can't make sense of why that was your destination. Was there something like just freedom?
I mean, I can explain it. Yeah, I was living in New York.
Right.
So, I mean, literally, okay. In my last couple of weeks in New York, I'm not exaggerating, a woman smoking crack outside of my front door in Flatbush, Brooklyn. So I'm paying this absorbent amount of money to live where there's literally a crackhead smoking crack outside of my front door. The block that I live on, I don't know. Are we getting music now? What's happening?
I
They're
thought it
setting the
would.
tone.
I thought it would add to the tone of the. I'll leave again. Don't worry, you guys.
Wait, the block that I was living on became a literal gang territory, and we're not talking about Flatbush, Brooklyn is not the epitome of high society. It's not Billionaires Row in Manhattan, but it's not. You know what I mean? It's Brooklyn. It's like it costs a pretty penny to live there. It was absolutely disgusting. The mask, I could see the vaccine. I left before the vaccine mandates were even a thing, but you could see it coming a mile down the road. And it was literally on paper, quite literally, it was the cheapest place with the best job market and no crazy mask things. So I just got in my car and drove there. I knew it wasn't going to be permanent, but it was a quick and affordable way to leave New York. Yep.
I love your sense of adventure and your ability to just go. That is so remarkable. Not a lot of people have that, just sort of point to a destination and get there.
And can I know I've probably beat this dead horse, but since we're on the topic, I had filed suit against de Blasio. I was protesting before. Now they're doing it every day in New York. I was doing it. I saw the corruption all the way up the ladder from the very beginning, and I knew it was unsustainable. So yeah, kudos to everybody out there who's trying to stand up for it now, but not to be a pessimist. It might be too late for them. Eric Adams is gonna come in. He's gonna force vax the kids. He's pretending that he's gonna sit down at the table and talk to this group of people, but he's not. He's already been bought out. De Blasio, Adams, all them. So long story short, I did it by myself, except my buddy George who helped me move. But I knew, like I said, it wasn't going to be permanent. and it was just, dude, it just saved me a little bit of money. I saw part of the country I never saw.
Did you did you get rid of all your stuff and just fill up a car?
I mean, I brought the
Yeah.
essentials, which of course is a car full of Yeezys. And the furniture, unfortunately, I will admit that my Brooklyn furniture did end up on the sidewalk I guarantee you, I am not the only person to have done that. Like, you could.
Oh no, that's the exchange of furniture in society. That's how that works.
Yeah.
I did the same thing when I saw the forest for the trees with a writing on the wall for California. I one weekend was like, I'm out of here. I left everything in California. I filled up my car, filled up my mom's car, and I was out.
Yep. So now I'm not going to do that anymore. I think we're free. I mean, debatable as far as like a lot of people. I still think South Dakota is more free than what Florida was pretending. I know a lot of people aren't going to like that either. Yeah. Because I did go back to Florida. To Florida, what, 2 or 3 times last year? And I'm not going to say, I had fun. It was a good time, but it's a little bit of a facade, right? So I was forced to, it was like a humiliation ritual where I had to put on, one of those little like horse doors, those little like waist high gates or whatever. The guy made me put on.
Wait, you cut out. What did you say?
Did we lose him? He's stuck on.
I really want to know what the guy made him put on. He said he made him put on something.
We'll never know now. And he's gone.
Okay.
We'll figure out. I guess through all of that, we didn't get an answer to my question, but that's fine.
So we were at a rally against the jab, and it was a children's health defense rally. And it was great. On the one hand, it was really great. On the other hand, it felt kind of a little bit heartbreaking. Eric was a new face that I saw there. It was so surprising. Obviously, the last time I've seen Eric, we're talking about you, was on this show months and months and months ago. And then I'm like looking across the way and I'm like, this can't be. And at the same time, we were both like, Eric? Samaire? And it was like, this is so trippy. I mean, that's par for the course nowadays. Like, life is just weird, you like 1 minute you're friends on Instagram, the next minute you're giving each other a hug at the Capitol protesting the jab.
And then you guys gave your pronouns and your race and your land acknowledgement, assumingly.
Wait, Eric, what did the guy make you put on?
Oh, a mask, a blue
dress.
Oh,
okay,
mask.
not a dress.
Okay, got it.
But we're talking about sorry, like I said, I don't know why I'm having such technical difficulties today. We're looking into that, but just to get into an outdoor restaurant, I had to wear a mask to get through the little entryway, and I'm like, dude, it doesn't make sense. But
no.
So, needless to say, and that was in Fort Lauderdale. So I think that's Broward County, so it's corrupt.
Can you imagine? This is what we felt like and what little kids feel like when they're at school and they're like, but why do I have to do this? It doesn't make sense. And the teacher's like, because you have to. I mean, this is what they've been, getting us ready for decades now.
So you're saying that this was the public school system sort of reasoning?
I don't think they had the intentional foresight, but the idea is the same. It's like, it doesn't need to have reason behind it. It just needs to have authority behind it.
This is true. Speaking of, I don't know how to segue this to Dave Portnoy's accusers. Did you guys hear about this?
Yeah.
He's got. I'll bring up the news article here. And we're going on this archive website because Business Insider, I'll show you guys, tried to use this to sell subscriptions. Heads up, that Insider is currently offering a huge discount for premium subscriptions if you want to read incredible journalism. It's so important to hear these women's voices who are accusing somebody of sexual misconduct that you must pay $4 a month in order to read it. But we care about everybody, just a reminder, the Business Insider. So we're reading the archived version. I was literally screaming in pain, young woman says. They met Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy for sex, and it turned violent and humiliating. Now, you can read the whole thing. Julia Black, who's been shown to have shit-talking of them on Twitter before. 8 months to a year she was researching this. She told people that it was just an open-ended profile on the business, and wherever it led, except it involved emailing and talking to all the women Dave Portnoy has known, and even ones that have done TikToks about him. She reached out to anyone who might have dirt on him. Didn't really come up with much. But this is her story that she came out with, that everything was so traumatic. Here's one of the stories. They started kissing. Madison said she first became uncomfortable when Portnoy pulled out his phone and started filming her without asking permission as she performed oral sex on him. I never said anything. I was scared. He was just so mean. So here's a text message. How many nights was it? 2. We had sex one time. Was it good? And it was so rough. I feel like I don't want to get pulled off. And he videotaped me and other things that I don't want to get pulled off for. You can read them. Podcast people are going to hard time with this. Explicit sexual acts. And I heard I was literally screaming in pain. So this is her texting the journalist, one of the women. So it felt so rough. I felt like I was so that's what we just read. Another one that Dave Portnoy, now to give the other side of the story, he gives text messages from other people about how they were being approached by it. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that there's a reporter who called, and they've been working on an article for a little over a month about how you're a sexual predator, etc. I can send you stuff and her contact info. He says, I'm aware. They've been actually working on it closer to a year. It's Business Insider. I'm pretty confident in who I am, he says. And basically, the girl goes on to saying that I'm just trying to warn you. I didn't have a problem with anything you did. This is the story about the woman making it seem like you were a pedo and all this other stuff, this, that, and the other. Now, one of the other stories that was interesting, and he, of course, calls them out for, trying to capitalize on this. One of the other stories that was mentioned was this girl's mother actually went to the police, not the same girl, I don't think, but I could be wrong. But one of the girl's mothers went to the police in the Hamptons and said, you got to look out for this Dave Portnoy guy because he's dating 18 and 19-year-olds and inviting them to his mansion, and I don't think that's right. And the police responded with, well, we haven't had any reports on it, but we'll look into it. They talked to the sergeant or something, and they looked into it more. They're just like, yeah, we haven't heard or seen anything wrong. So this woman's mother was the one who talked to Business Insider, if I'm not mistaken, and said that she's been depressed since she went to Dave Portnoy. He did something to her, this, that, and the other. Meanwhile, Portnoy has text messages with the same girl, and in the timeline that the mother is saying that this was all happening, she was actually going to see Dave Portnoy as that happened. So pretty hard to believe that she's so damaged by it that she keeps going back. One of the trips, and the last thing I'll mention, which is described as hellish in the article, I don't know if we can, control F it here. But anyways, they described it as hellish, which involved a first-class air ticket to his mansion in the Hamptons. So I thought that was pretty weird. Do you guys have any initial reaction to this? I know I just threw a lot on it, but that's sort of both sides of the story.
Well,
no.
I just want to. Okay, first of all, the title of the story is a little strange, right? It's like, we met for sex. Okay, I guess. I mean, you can't say just we're dating or went on a date. So that's a little bit leading, right? So they want to make it seem very dubious and very sinister from the start. The second thing is, I don't know too much about. I like Barstool. I think he's funny. I think they do good work. Whatever. But I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and this may be unpopular as well. This has
He's leaving us on a
Kobe
cliffhanger. Okay, Kobe
right?
vibes.
Yeah, I think that Dave Portnoy is struggling to. I just don't see it. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying I don't believe these women or I do believe Portnoy. Actually, I do. I would probably believe Portnoy in this situation. But the point I want to make is I don't think that he just doesn't seem like the type of guy who has to be a predator. Now, we can talk about how, however much money you make and you get into weird stuff. But I just, in its most crass terms, I feel like if one woman says, I don't want to sleep with you, then he would probably escort her to the front door and find another one. That's just me. I could be wrong.
Well, according to him and his own post that he made, and he shows the text messages. He's like, don't come if you don't want to, or this is what I want. And he's pretty clear about that. Now, do I expect him to do that? I don't know if I would agree with that particular argument because we've got people like Bill Cosby, of course. Well, just come on over and we'll have a glass. No, I won't even try a Cosby impression. Haven't worked on it. Eric, do you have a Cosby impression, or is that not New York enough?
I'm not gonna venture into that realm.
If you just take the glass of wine, no. Anyways, I don't think Samaire wants to comment on this, do you?
No, it sounds a bit gossipy versus like allegatory, if is that the word? Allegations. It's like more of gossip and less of an allegation. I mean, it's such a witch hunt these days, and it's hard to, if it's not fully fleshed out, don't bring the story. Otherwise, you've got nothing to bring to the table except for gossip.
Well, it sounds to me like this woman
wanted to get those subscriptions. They wanted to get those subscriptions.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
They put 8 to 12 months into the story. It didn't really turn out the way she was hoping to. She didn't have a smoking gun. And you know what? They probably spent so much money flying her around to talk to these people that they're like, let's put it out. Let's make it as sensational as possible and get from it what we put into it. That's what it seems like, especially when you put it behind the paywall. Like first of all, there's ways around that. And it looks bad. As you can see, people archive it.
How is it a business relevant story as well? It's not a reflection on his business. It's a reflection on his sex life, which really shouldn't have anything to do with his business unless there is an actual crime that's occurred.
Yeah,
that doesn't seem like there has.
Yeah, there hasn't been any reports or any crimes. There is a famous case in Canada of this guy named Gian Gomeshi. It's Jian, and he was accused. He was CBC, the state broadcaster. He was like their #1 radio guy because they have radio stations as well. So CBC Radio 1, it's called, same like BBC. He was their lead anchor. The guy they put all the famous celebrities on. We lost Eric. There's a famous Billy Bob Thornton interview with him where Billy Bob Thornton gets really mad that he's asking about his acting career instead of his band. Tra-la-la. So he was their #1 guy. He got accused of sexual misconduct from 2 women who were actually the 2 actresses from the movie Trailer Park Boys, or the show Trailer Park Boys. I don't know if you've ever seen that show. It's very Canadian. It's very popular. So 2 female actresses from that show accused him of sexual misconduct, and it was sort of the same story where they would meet with him in a park and they said he was really aggressive and they hated it and they didn't want to see him anymore, but they continued to call him, meet with him, send him sexy messages and stuff like that. And that was the whole thing, where he was not convicted of anything, but his reputation was ruined because this was like the early 2000s, I think, or early 2010s. And it was sort of the same thing, whereas it seemed allegedly, supposedly, the deep state, that it was more of like a regret situation. Whereas, because obviously you don't, and we keep losing Eric, obviously you don't exactly contact your predator afterwards, or you do, I don't know. But it reminded me a lot of that situation where it seems like, a smear job and there's not as much content to go on. So they sort of just like, let's put it out there and do what we can because we can't backtrack now. And it's a shame.
And I don't think it's fair either to make an allegation and point out what an aggressive, nasty person that other individual that you keep calling is, without taking any accountability of your actions. So if it's always 2 people in a situation, and so in some way, like you have a part in making contact over and over again, or accepting contact over and over again. Not to say that, but I don't think like playing victim to a situation, which it doesn't really quite sound like this woman actually was. It just sounds like she was just answering questions, but that's not a basis to hunt someone down on. If the guy, if she was like, no, he wasn't stalking her. He told her not to come.
He allegedly flies them out, or flies at least this one girl out to the Hamptons first class. So it's not like she was forced. And he said he talked to her for months anyways. What was I going to say? Oh, also, I don't think they reached out to him.
Now, right?
I don't know.
I mean, I think the last time I was Instagram stalking him, because he's a very curious character, I'm pretty sure he has a girlfriend very happily together with for quite a while.
Well, I hope that if this stuff is false, and as it seems to be, in my personal opinion, without any lawyer consultancy, you guys, that it doesn't ruin the relationship. What I was going to say is it doesn't seem like that's a sincere point. Am I not allowed to be serious sometimes? Is that what's going on here?
Well, he did mention in his like rebuttal, right, on Twitter. I think he did mention that he's in a something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think that this woman reached out to him either, the journalist, to ask for his other side of the story. So that could be a problem.
This should turn back on her. This isn't journalism. This is just high school gossip. It's icky.
Well, it hasn't really given her much of a,
Good. She should be fired.
I just think that's going to be a problem due to all the defamation hearings that I've been a part of, or training sessions. I know that you need to reach out to the other side because it makes it look way more malicious when you don't get the other person's side of the story. But I digress. Did I see that you were working on a movie? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Daily Wire movie?
Yes. So obviously everyone knows Gina Carano, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So Gina was an actress who was in the midst of a big TV show with Disney, The Mandalorian, and she subsequently was released from her contract because of, not adhering to the wokeness that Hollywood demands everyone exist in, and was invited to the Daily Wire to, share her side of the story. And on the spot, they gave her, we want to offer you a movie that you can produce. And they had this wonderful production company that they had just also finished distributing a film, Run, Hide, Fight. And it did really well. It was a conservative film about a young girl in school with a school shooting, and she's been, trained to save and help people. And so that was exciting because this director Dallas, or this producer Dallas, and director and their production company Bonfire is excellent. They make top tier films, and so they all three got together and were like, we're going to change the way that movie making is made. We're not going to make any content to shove some sort of narrative down anyone's throat. We're just going to tell good stories with, the villain, the morals, the values, the grit, the character developing, and happily ever after, so to speak. And so I was watching from afar with so much hope, because when I spoke out last September against everything in Hollywood and what was happening in America, I really felt like that was the end, obviously, of my career, but hoping that to another side of speaking out, there would be an opportunity to create content again with people who just got it. And so I'd been speaking with Dallas from Bonfire for a while to find a project to be a part of, and I was so freaking grateful. I have a very small role in this project, but just to be on set with people who weren't acting like the world was ending in terms of like some virus, or like, there was no, I didn't have to go get tested. I didn't have to get a shot. I didn't have to wear masks, and nobody was. And pretty much everyone was saying, let's go Brandon on set. And it was awesome. And everyone on set had reached out to Dallas from Bonfire Legends production company to say, hey, I've been in the makeup industry in Hollywood for 40 plus years. An award-winning makeup artist is doing the makeup on it, and there's a lot of guts and gore and whatnot, because it's a pretty gnarly story. But and so the project was filled with characters filling the roles that create the project, from everywhere from art department to sound to anything else, people who were sick of Hollywood. And so it was so cool because everybody wanted to be there. And I wouldn't say that the conditions on set were luxurious by any means, but it was so thrilling to be really like feeling the fight on so many levels. Like we were fighting against this way that Hollywood has been operating for decades now, and also we were fighting to get this really great story done, and feeling so good. There was something very primal and satisfying about it. I felt so free. I felt inspired, and I hope that other actors and creators and other people in their subsequent industry, that they feel like, oh, this is it for me if I speak out. I hope they feel encouraged to speak out, take a stand definitively in what they think is right in freedom, in the Constitution, in America, and have faith that on the other end there will be a whole other opportunity where they can exist in that realm and still get to do, what God's gift was given to them to do. Was that a good spiel?
It was a very good spiel.
Thank you.
You'll be put on what's that Watch Mojo channel very soon for that, I think. No.
Hey, can I just say about the Daily Wire and I guess the common sense, movie production that obviously needs to happen is that aren't we realizing by now that when you can actually take a stand, and it's not even, you don't even really have to take a stand at this point as much as just be honest, right? So we see it the same thing in New York. What happens when a pizza restaurant comes out and says you can't eat pizza here unless you go get the poke, but then a bakery down in South Brooklyn says we're not going to discriminate, we're not going to participate. And the stark difference you see is that Rocco's who stood up to the discrimination, they get inundated, they get loads of supportive comments. They have people wanting to travel there to go get a croissant or something, versus the pizza spot in Brooklyn who turns off the comments. So I feel like it's kind of like a parallel thing. It's like, if you can stand up, if you can be honest about this, it will eventually work in your favor. I mean, I know even much smaller scale people who work in Los Angeles, and their common sense, they know it's wrong, but they refuse to do it because they feel like it will hinder a career that hasn't even really taken off yet. And I'm like, if you just be honest about it, you might find more success and more like-minded people just by same thing with Kyrie, right? I mean, you can see the outpouring of support for Kyrie versus a couple of CNN talking heads who call him a white supremacist. I mean, I just don't understand how people are still falling for the the cancel mob. They can't get you. They can't get you. You're giving them the power. So I think obviously we need more of that.
You nailed it. You absolutely. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say what I've noticed, especially up here in Canada, where there isn't as many alternative places for people to go. Once there starts to be this whole mass of people that don't want to comply with whatever the conditioning or mandate du jour would be, whether it be injection or masking, however you want to put it, you've opened yourself up now. There's a big pool to take people from that aren't getting jobs elsewhere, and that's a loss for the people that are firing these people or letting these people go. Like you mentioned, there's award-winning makeup artists who maybe wouldn't be working for the Daily Wire Productions. I don't know if they've got a different name, but maybe they wouldn't be working for them before, but now you've got this whole pool of super talented people to choose from if you're a company like the Daily Wire or Rebel News, because they're starting to realize, hey, the system I was a part of before isn't the welcoming and loving institution that I was told to believe in. There's other people that I can join up with, and then that person's going to tell other people, and they're going to tell other people, and it's going to be tenfold the amount of people who, one, aren't trusting in the system they used to trust in before, but also are opening up their mind, heart, and eyes to maybe a different way of thinking, or just accepting that, everybody who disagrees with me before maybe wasn't a white supremacist or a fascist or something like that. And that's all I wanted to say, because in Canada, there aren't many other places for people to go. And I know personally, we've gotten to work with a couple people who are really talented and otherwise would be out of work if we weren't lending an arm to them. And now they're available, and now they want to talk to people. Like I'm having I won't even give away my guests this week, but there's so many people,
Yeah. And to what Eric was saying, I think that, if you sort of shrug down and hide under, the rules that they want you to exist in, then that's as high in your existence as you're going to get. You can't soar at that level. If you step out of that fear state, the whole world and universe is your oyster, and possibilities are limitless. So it's really your own doing, by staying and submitting to that sort of existence.
Is this the movie Terror on the Prairie?
Yes.
So there's Gina Carano and you. You're Soiled Dove. That's an interesting name.
Yes.
Cowboy Cerrone is in it. That must have been cool. Did you get to talk to him? Did you meet him at all?
Wait, sorry.
UFC
you
fighter
cut out.
Donald Cerrone is in it.
Yes, Cowboy. Yes.
Yeah.
He's amazing. He's incredible. Everyone was incredible.
I had a story about him when I interviewed UFC fighter TJ Laramie, who's been on this show, I think. If not, we need to get him on here. But he said that when there was a fight going on where Colby Covington, who just fought last night, the super mega guy, was fighting a guy named Tyron Woodley, who is super BLM, probably doesn't really believe in the stuff, that Cowboy Cerrone was giving him shit backstage about, like, you can't support BLM. This is ridiculous. You don't even believe in that stuff. So it was a good story that makes Cerrone look even better than he already is, because he runs this. I don't know if you got to talking to him about it, but he runs his training camps out in the middle of nowhere on like a ranch, and he gets people to help out with farm work, and they get their own little living quarters. It's like a boot camp for life and fighting. So he seems like a pretty cool guy.
He's absolutely remarkable. He is someone who's so capable in so many ways. Physically, he's got his hands in every single sort of like a extreme fighting sport, racing, but also he takes care of a family and a farm on a level that most modern society would just not know how to exist in. He is the real deal.
This is one of his best knockouts ever. Just a nice combo. Just beats this guy.
He's pretty cool.
I'm just pumped up from the fights from last night. It was a good time. Eric, what was this? Oh, we lost him right when I was going to him. This Kanye West had some sort of interview the other day where I don't even think I watched it, but he had some sort of interview where he's like, he was smoking weed, which I don't see him doing. There's Eric. Eric, what's this Kanye interview that we're about to play here?
Oh man, so Kanye, sorry. Even though I guess his mama named him Kanye, so I'm gonna call him Kanye. That's Coming to America. Anyways, he went on Drink Champs, right? I'm not sure if Drink Champs, I guess, is a pretty big podcast. I kind of compare it to like a black Joe Rogan. It's like
that's what he called him on it too, right? He called him Joe.
Well, when he started smoking the joint, he kind of like made the comparison to like what Joe Rogan would do. But they typically do these long form interviews. This one was 2.5 hours long, and it did. I did watch all 2.5 hours.
Of course, you did.
It was interesting to say the least, and of course, I clipped down a little bit of it. I think you've probably seen some of the viral clips that are happening online.
I've actually haven't seen anything from it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Well, because look, the night that it came out, I was working, and of course I'm obviously following different people than you're following on social media, but I kept seeing clips of it before the interview had even finished airing, and I'm like, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch these out of context clips. I want to watch the whole thing for myself. So, needless to say, he took some swipes directly at Kamala Harris, directly at Joe Biden, directly at the mainstream media and the urban radio DJs and stuff.
John Legend.
He called these people out. Big Sean, he called them out.
Well, then I'm gonna have to watch it then.
By name, I highly recommend. I clipped it down to about 15 minutes and posted it to my Instagram. Of course, it's getting completely shadow banned. Nobody is seeing it, but I pulled what I thought were the best clips, and then I sent you 2 minutes of the best 15 minutes. So I think it's worth watching.
Best of the best of the best here, I guess. All right, and what a perfect time for him to lose his connection again. That's not it.
That one. Once y'all collaborate and listen, come get me. What y'all gonna do? Y'all me too me? Y'all come up with some type of scam? Y'all gonna come up with something and try to take me? No, God had me for a reason, because if I was at Nike, you think I'd have been able to wear a red hat? You think I'd been able to have an opinion? You think I'd be able to show you we can have an opinion? That's all you needed to see. We are not immune from who we influenced by. Right here, I'm here to light it up, then I'm gone. But after an interview like this, I did my job. But if I hadn't come to you and said this and kept it to myself, then God couldn't have used me. You know what I'm saying? I only fear God, as I said, and I'm not always obedient. You know, it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on out here. You know what I'm saying? I fall short. They say Moses killed the man and all the, you know, before God called on him. Man, our freedom is, first of all, let's do everything we can to keep our children. There's a foundation that has been started. I actually bumped into the gentleman whose dad started a foundation in Israel that gives money to women who are thinking about not having a baby. And that's the exact time that I'm on. That's what we on. That's what we on. We on God time now. Somehow I made it this far, man. You know, to be able to give y'all this information.
Beautiful. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, praise God, bro. And that's, I'm telling you, I know it's also kind of funny when I'm talking about John and Big Sean. And you know what it is? It'd be something funny. It's like people, it hurt. It hurt us, people who love me. Like Charlamagne loved me, but he had to, you know, put Biden on the thing. And think about this happened when Biden, remember he said, Charlamagne, if you didn't vote for me, then you're not black. Well, you know, that showed you how comfortable he was and how much they talked before that. And you know what must have happened afterwards? They got in the room like, y'all niggas done fucked up. I ain't supposed to be showing that y'all like that. That y'all like that. That y'all like that. John Legend, Sean. This is some 1984, bro. This is mind control. This population control. Rise up, man. Look inside of you, man.
So, we going with Large Pro or Primo?
Primo.
Primo? Okay. Yeah. All right.
That one.
He's really dressed like it's 1998 there. Like the all black, the gloves. Reminds me of every Diddy music video from the late 90s. So obviously he's calling out
He does reference that too, by the way.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, like
damn, I'm a genius.
The leather coats and stuff, yeah.
So obviously he's calling out the closeness I'm guessing these guys have with the Democratic Party when they're just like, let's promote this guy who's obviously, you know, questionable history with black people, not all there cognitively, shitty policy as we've seen. Like, and there's so many distractions too, because the border is insane, inflation is insane, the supply chain insane. What else? Like gas prices insane. Did I say that one already? International relations terrible. His approval rating terrible. Lowest approval rating of I think any president at this point in the presidency. Probably I think it was since Nixon, who obviously got impeached and kicked out. So is there any other takeaways we need to get from that, Eric, before obviously we're going to go and watch the full thing?
Well, I think in this clip specifically, he alludes to abortion, which he refuses to actually say. So if you'll notice, he kind of self-censors himself, and he says a woman who is thinking about not having.
There he goes again. So what do you think about that possible policy, Samaire, of woman goes in, she's thinking about getting an abortion, and you're just like, it's probably for financial reasons. Here's, I don't know, $1,000. Think about it. Or will people just start exploiting that? What do you think about that possibility?
I mean, I think that's easily exploited, but also I guess perhaps an incentive. I don't know. I think policy and health, it gets so weird. I'm going to skip that, and I'm going to jump to an answer which you haven't asked the question about. But I will say, what one thing that is significant, I think, between Charlamagne and Joe Biden, what that also reflects is a reflection of, even if he didn't fully trust Biden to do something, it appears as if he believed, hey, if I've got this guy in my corner, I can get something for my community. I can be safe. If I advocate for him, he will advocate for me. And I think it's a perfect reflection of how politicians play people. And it's not just the Democrats. We're getting played all the time by our Republican politicians as well. And I think it's a dangerous place to wait around till the next, election where we're going to win the House, we're going to win the Senate, we're going to win whatever it is, because it doesn't even matter. We have Republicans fighting against us, voting against us right here and right now. So I'm in this troubled space where it's like, I just wish big government and policies would go away and let people make their own decisions about their life. And I certainly have zero faith in any politician saving us to any extent.
Well, a bunch of Republicans just voted for that terrible bill.
Exactly.
We got Joe Biden, and that's going to be upcoming, I think, in another bill of the giving up to upwards of $500,000 to anyone who's suing the U.S. government for separating at the border, which is the most insane thing. And Eric's going to be so mad that he dropped out.
As an illegal immigrant, you can sue the government for being separated allegedly from your family at the border. But as a legal citizen, you can be fired from your job from taking an experiment. Like it's so backwards and crazy.
Well, also imagine the idea that a person who's guilty of a federal crime, which illegally crossing the border is, you can say, yes, I get to have my family with me all through the judicial process and, from jail. And we've seen how horrible those can be from those TV shows, all the way up to your detention and your arraignment and your hearing. Mm-hmm. And then if they decide that you were innocent at the end, you get $500,000. I don't know.
It's just as bad as, a criminal going and breaking into a house, being shot by the homeowner, and then suing the homeowner for being shot. I mean, that's where we're at.
Mm-hmm. And there's always those stories about that happening, about somebody not having. Usually it's from escalation of force. All right, I think it's about time to wrap up. Eric's going to be so mad. I could see it on his face already because his thing keeps cutting out. We can promote his book while he's gone. It's behind me. It's New York City 2020 Gotham Unglued, his book, including all the crazy pictures he took while living in New York, which he explained about fleeing due to their horrible policies, homeless people, garbage, drugs, everything that you want to see and hold dear to your heart. Samaire.xoxo. See? 125K. You're really killing it out there. What's this? I was looking at the shirt. That's what I was distracted by. It looks like it's a promotion for a coffee house. But anyways, follow her on Instagram.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. What's this all about?
Yeah, Viva Coffee is a hub, coffee shop in Tucson that's been sort of this place for freedom fighters to hub up at and fight for their children against the school boards down there. It's a very liberal city, but there's a lot of conservatives. They're having Ian Smith, who had the fitness center in Jersey, who's been under constant attack but refuses to close down no matter what. So they're having him come out at a freedom talk, but because of the mandates out there, less people have jobs, so less people are showing up to coffee shop. So if anyone wants to support it by buying merch or buying a ticket online for the freedom talk with Ian Smith that they have coming up, or even just donating to their Give, Send, Go, please feel free to do so.
Viva Coffee House. I need a coffee sponsor. There's one of them that sponsors another show on Rebel News, but not mine. I need a coffee sponsor. I need it ground. I need to put it on me. I need it ground into espresso so that it works with whatever my girlfriend does. I know it's easy. I don't make my own coffee. Regardless. Chad Prather from Blaze TV joined me the other day, and he was a fun guest. He himself said the old Republican Party is dead. There's no need to trust him. We talked about the election. We talked about the drag queen halftime show. We talked about Peloton fitness bikes, which we hate. How do you feel about Peloton, Samaire?
I hear it's great. Am I supposed to advocate for it?
Every time I ask you to insult somebody, you don't.
Oh, okay. But honestly, I feel like you can just get a bike and ride with your iPhone. I don't know why you need a whole Peloton, but
too positive. So that show is on rebelnews.com/Andrew_says, where you can go to the show tabs. Eric, we already showed your book. We were generous. I pontificated that you'd be angry at your connection. There's the book.
Yeah, I am very angry about this. Apologies, because I wanted to say a couple things about the Kanye clip and how he's censoring himself on the word abortion. And another thing about this spending bill, that we have these Republicans or whatever that have voted with them. Meanwhile, you have the far left who are not voting with them, basically forcing everybody even further to the left. None of this makes any sense. So obviously, Republicans, Democrat, does not matter. The fact that Republicans voted for it while the hard left voted against it literally means that we are all shifting further to the left. And when I say left, I mean obviously policy-wise, not just like personality, AOC or Bernie or stuff. I mean, literally, they are saying no. I mean, think about it. If you can have Republicans who don't like this, most of them, I think there were 13 that voted with it, and then you have whatever, 10 or 8 or 10 Democrats who voted against it, that means that they're trying to shift everybody further to the left. I'm sorry, we're going back on that. I don't know what's up with this connection. I will have to troubleshoot this and get an IT guy out here or something for next week, because it's unacceptable.
It clearly has something to do with y'all's, and I can say y'all because two of you are in Arizona. What's this? You guys ignore daylight savings. You don't set the clock back. So how often? I've always been under the impression that Arizona is 2 hours behind. Sometimes it's 3.
Yes, correct. We just exist. Everyone else adapts around us.
That's unbelievable. I wish we could see my hands raised in the air in disgust. Anything you want to say before we let you go?
No, I think you should come out and visit us here in Arizona if that's possible, though.
Can't get on a flight for international flight without testing, and they're pushing the vaccine thing back. But I'd have to fly to Buffalo. I want to do a whole tour. I want to go start in North Carolina, visit Bryson Gray. I want to go down to Florida. We have our social media guy and our accountant there. I want to go to Texas, Arizona, and if Will Witt still lives in California, I'll go bother him, even though he hates when I bother him. For months I just commented on Will before he came on my show. This is like last year. I would just comment on everything he had that his hair was fake, and I really bothered him until he came on my show. And now my thing with Elod is to tell him to do a segment shirtless until he comes on my show. Come on my show, Elod. Eric's very depressed. We'll leave him for the rest of the day. Thank you for watching. The thousands of people that watch every week, thank you very much. We're growing every week, and we love it. Thanks for joining us, Samaire.
Thank you for
I can't wait to see
having
this
me.
movie. No problem.
Group hug.